It's always nice when you start to build a new bike and come across some AOLS 3 carbon clinchers. But anyway, this is the Trek Domane, the new SLR model that I'm building today, and kind of got all the goodies here. It's got the carbon bars with the ISO little gel insert pads there, and lots of bits and pieces. And building this bike up with the new Sram Red eTap component group, and I'd messed with it just a little bit before, this group, and this was the first I ever got to actually, install it on a bike and try it out and everything. So it's kind of stoked on that. You get the charger, you got the batteries there, and it's a little. You can actually hook two chargers up, do both batteries at the same time. Little A&T stick there to update your firmware, and then the actual single charger unit there. Like I said, you can plug two into that little charger unit there. That's the little USB to the charger cord there. But yeah, pretty straightforward, pretty sweet. It's got the ISO speed decouplers there. This one, it's always had it on the seat post, but now it is adjustable. You could just move that little piece up and down there, and it's the eTap derailleurs there. Pretty nice. It's a little cover you can use for traveling, but you can see, I'm filming with one hand, so it's pretty easy. If you put the batteries on, it's pretty straightforward, simple. Same thing with the front derailleur. Yeah, but this is the just a little charging unit, charging the batteries. It's little covers on the back, and I guess there's one way you can flip that lever. I'm not sure exactly. I didn't really see in the directions, but I guess it keeps it from losing a charge, I guess, is the kind of the gist of those. But yeah, just kind of going through the bolting the bars on. They kind of had the levers already mounted up on the bars, and brake cables already cut to the right length, so that kind of shortened up the build process there a little bit. And and kind of one nice thing with these, with the the wireless shifting, it's really a game changer as far as people that are, I know there's a lot of hesitation with some of the Di2 stuff, that folks didn't want to tape a bunch of wires to the bottom of their frame or whatever, or drill holes in some exotic bike or an older bike or whatever. But that's kind of a nice thing with the eTap, is it's really gonna fill a lot of needs that people are looking for. This brake here, it's a little direct mount. That's the one thing with the SLR model. You have the direct mount brake. This is actually the Bontrager direct mount. I've messed with this is the one I used to actually have one of this exact brake on my Amanda SLR last year, and I really liked it. It's a little, it's a little tricky sometimes to set up. I've had, there's been a few people that I've seen have issues the first time they've basically it's the routing of the wire part that can be a little tricky, but once you do it a couple times, it's really not a huge deal. But, getting the old AOLS 3 wheels mounted up there, and the bike came with 28mm tires, so it I went out and rode it a little bit after I got it built, and it's a real nice plush, just pretty amazing ride. But yeah, just getting the cables lubed up here and running them through. You want that. Always want to lube up your cables, and like I say, this and the cables are already cut. But when you're cutting your cables, always make sure you don't have any of that little metal stuff hanging over. That's one little mistake I see a lot when folks cut their own cables and such. But there's a little bolt there on the side, and the cable actually runs kind of inwards through the brake, so it's kind of difficult to see where you're actually pushing the wire through. And I found it's a little easier actually if you remove the wheel, and sometimes there's a little back plate that pulls up against, the sandwiches the cable. Sometimes that gets wedged in. I'll take a little pick and kind of just open up the little hole there. But you can see how it basically just slides in there. Also, I've switched out the brake pads. I already did that and put the carbon compound brake pads in there. But that's basically the gist of the routing there. So now it's just a matter of cinching down the cables, and there's another little bolt on the side that you just fine tune to as far as the pads, to kind of swing them one way or the other to get the wheel centered up between the brake pads there. It's pretty easy to center the brake that way, so pretty nice nice little feature there. And process for the front brake is basically the same deal. I was kind of, while I was doing all this, I was charging up the batteries, so didn't take, they were already probably had, I don't know, 50-75% charge, but it looks like you got your two batteries, and then the two, like a 2032 in each of the shift levers there. So I don't know, seems like it's, even with the Di2, I still see people constantly, it's kind of the same with those. You're not going to have to charge them often. The batteries in the shift brake lever there is going to last for a year or two, but it is, being a 2032, that will be if you were to actually run out on a ride or something, those are pretty common these days to find, if worst case. But ideally it's just one of those basic maintenance things that you need to stay on top of. Each area there has a little indicator that gives you a signal as far as what the status of your battery charge is. So it's really one of those things, there's no excuse, you just got to stay on top of it. So here I'm basically this is pretty simple, straightforward setup. Just putting the batteries on here, and then this is literally the first time I kind of just quickly read the quick start guide, and putting the batteries on here, and then I'm pairing them up to the levers. And essentially it's just a little button, you hold it down, there's a little LED, and it'll flash, and then once it stops, it's paired up. So or I think you just let it go once it starts flashing, is kind of how that works. So yeah, I did got those done, did the brake levers, and there were the shifters on the brake levers there, and it's all pretty straightforward. There's a little button there, and it's super easy to kind of do the trim, or the micro adjustment on the rear derailleur. The front, you just control it with the high-low limit screws there. And then they're, kind of similar to Shimano, and Campy's got their own system, but there's these little back plates that keep the derailleur from rotating inwards to the frame with that powerful little motor. So this one is just, there's a series of little plastic wedge pieces there, and you just find the best one that fits your application. In this case it's the narrowest one there, and you just kind of wedge it in place, and there's a little screw there. You push it up in there, and then just tighten that down, and you're good to go. So other than that, the angles of the derailleur, you just set them up like normal. So I took it out here for a little test ride, and honestly, I think the eTap there, if you've never ridden a bike with shifters up on the brake levers, I would say that these are going to be the most intuitive for somebody just learning how to use this system. But yeah, anyway, that's it. Just some little highlights of this bike. It's a pretty sweet one, and yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, thanks for watching.